All right, I figured we'd kick off this video review today with me just outright saying that this game is not for me. I felt like just being completely honest at the beginning of the video. This game isn't for me. Roll the intro. All right, so before we kick this video off, guys, I'm Kasanova, Hawaii content creator, host of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast, which is available on every major podcasting outlet, as well as I stream on twitch.tv/Kasanova, so catch me over there. And with that out the way, I know I kind of shockingly kicked this video off with saying this game isn't for me, but I'm just being completely transparent with you. This game is not at all for me. It's not a game that it's hard because I thought I would be very interested in this game. The premise seems cool, but after playing it for several hours, it just really felt repetitious. So again, it's not for me, and I'm just going to be honest. So I do want to say thank you to Team 17 for sending me a review code for this game, which I've actually played this. I have copies of this game on the Switch as well as on the Steam, as well as on PC. And so I kind of set on this just because, one, a whole lot's been going on. As you guys know, I've got a baby on the way. A lot of things going on in family life, so it's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm finally getting around to doing this review, and I just wanted to be completely transparent. So let's not waste any more time and go ahead and get right into it. So the story of this game is that you're an intern named Jackie, and you're basically at this company called Fizzle. Now, Fizzle, they make these drinks that are effectively meal replacements. I mean, the best thing I can think of is compared to if you had Rockstar, and the Rockstar basically gave you everything you needed, every sense of sustenance, like as far as like food and energy and nutrition. Like it's basically a full-on meal replacement. It's everything you need in a can. That's what Fizzle is. And basically, you answered an ad where they were looking for a marketing intern. And so you go there on your first day on the job, you're asked to do something that's a little incomprehensible. You would think, and it's funny because it's incomprehensible to the character, and it's incomprehensible to you, but your manager who's overseeing your internship is like, no, this is perfectly normal. If you're not understanding what that is, that something is you have to go kill some goblins, some monsters, right? So as you're shocked to see this, so is Jackie. And you go through the dungeon and you get to the last level or wherever the boss is. And then once you get there, you start fighting all these enemies, and ultimately you're probably going to die. You're more than likely gonna die. I've never passed that part. And then you wake up after dying, you're at this meeting where you got the other people at Fizzle. You've got, the graphic designer, the guy who does the flavors, you've got the barista person, you've got the accountant person, you've got all these different people, right? They're all there. And it's very interesting because it's when you're doing your introduction, when they're asking you to introduce yourself and what's your favorite flavor and what is your aspirations for working at Fizzle. The funny thing is that Jackie says that her aspiration for working at Fizzle is she wants health insurance. No, I had to laugh. I have to admit, I laughed at that because the game is so tongue-in-cheek with its parallels to reality and what's going on right now in the real world, with not in regards to the pandemic, but in regards to like corporate America or corporate world. And I can laugh at it because I come from the corporate world, and a lot of people literally go and do internships and go and get jobs primarily because here, at least here in America, trying to get health insurance it's difficult if you don't have the money to pay for private health insurance. And that's a whole nother topic I'm not really diving into, but it's kind of messy. And the game kind of pokes fun at that. So when she mentions that, you go on to get this whole backstory about it goes on to talk about how, you know, the other characters are like, oh, that's so lofty of a goal, and you're thinking, what? It's just health insurance. So anyway, so basically diving into the core concepts of the game, because there's more story, but I don't really want to dive too deep into that. It's one of those, play it and it won't be spoiled for you. The gameplay wise, this is basically a dungeon crawler with some Zelda-esque aspects to it, because you basically go room to room, you clear the room, go to another room, and sometimes when you go to different rooms, you'll be able to pick up jobs and assignments that will more likely have you killing all the enemies as quickly as you can to get different ratings, like a 5-star rating, a 4-star rating. And it's a very simple premise when it comes to the combat. So you've got your left analog stick you use to move around, you got your right analog stick that you use for camera, then you have your attack button, you have your dodge roll, you have your lock on, you have your throw, and you know, it's a traditional, think, you know, Binding of Isaac, or think Zelda, like old school Zelda, and you kind of got an idea of how that gameplay is to an extent. It's also, you're going to deal with like randomly generated rooms. It seems like it's one of those, it's a roguelike basically. I'm not personally a fan of roguelites. It's not really a genre that I personally care for, but it does have its roguelike instances. So you're going to be going through each room with a set number of enemies. Sometimes you'll have one enemy, sometimes you'll have 2, 3, 4, 5. You might have a whole slew of enemies, and you're just going to go through and you're just dealing with each one as they come. And after an hour, like the first hour you're doing it, it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. After an hour, it kind of gets repetitive. Like, you go in, you clear out, you're trying to go, hence the title, going under. You're going under the building and trying to go as low as you can and clear as many floors as you can. And basically, you keep doing it until you get better abilities, better equipment. And the whole point is you're going to fail and fail and fail and fail until you get better equipment and you come back and do it. This is just not appealing to me personally. It's not something I care for as a gamer. I to be completely transparent, I was getting bored of it. Now, there's also different aspects, like when you're not going under, you're able to talk to the various people that work at Fizzle. You're able to check on various assignments, you know, change out your mentors, check your stats and stuff like that. And that's cool. It doesn't help the repetitive and, for me, boring gameplay. Like I didn't vibe with this, which is interesting because a lot of my friends that are, you know, content creators and journalists absolutely love this title. So I was hyped for it. I've spent the last month and a half trying to understand what that hype was for, because this game doesn't do anything for me. And this is not to say it's a terrible game. It's just not for me. And I'm honest enough to say that this gameplay wise is not for me. Now, aesthetically speaking, let's talk about the graphics. The graphics of the game, it looks pretty good. If you're looking for a game that presents itself well as an indie title. If you're looking for this to blow your way, it's not going to. I mean, it's very much an indie cartoonish style game. I think the visuals work fine. It looks great on the Switch, both portably and docked. It looks excellent on PC. But it's not gonna blow you away. Like, I will say I am a little disappointed that the character models in game don't look exactly like the character art that they have. It is a bit jarring, but I guess it kind of is what it is. I find it to be a bit disappointing. In many instances, like you're looking at Jackie and other characters, they're kind of like lumps of like clay. That's what they look like, lumps of clay, like claymation figures. Think Gumby or Clay Fighter, and you'll have an idea of what I'm talking about. And it just doesn't mesh with the visual aesthetic of what the character in cutscene art looks like. And when they're talking back and forth to one another, there's a certain art style there that shows that doesn't reflect in the game, and it's jarring. That's just my opinion on it. Now, audio-wise, the game doesn't. I mean, it's got a couple catchy tunes to it, especially when you're in Fizzle HQ. But other than that, there's not really a lot. I mean, when you're running through dungeons, you'll hear pretty much the same tune throughout, and then you've got Jackie's grunts. There's really the only voice acting you're gonna hear is usually in certain cutscenes and at the entrance and at the introduction of the game. Other than that, there's really no voice acting. Like I said, you got Jackie's grunts, you got the monster grunts, occasional bark from the dog with the that's following around the programmer. But other than that, there's really not a lot there, and it's it is what it is, I guess you could say. Now going from there, we're going to talk about the downsides, and I think majority of this review have already talked about the downsides, which are I'm not particularly a fan of how there's a clashing of the art style from the gameplay or the in-game engine and the art style presented when characters are talking. It's very jarring. That's one. Secondly is how repetitive the game is. That's two. Thirdly is just lack of variety. So that's three. But on the upside, to counterbalance that, is the story is very entertaining. It's very much an introspection as to, you know, current corporate culture. So that's an upside. And it's fun. I think this is a game that you're going to want to play in spurts. This is not something you're going to want to play like exclusively. Like you're going to sit here for hours on end and play it, because like I said, after an hour, I mean, honestly, after half an hour, maybe even 15 minutes, it's going to get really repetitive. So take that for what you will. Now, in the wrap up, talking about the game, this game, as I said, it's not for me. I can be honest and say it's not for me. It may be for you. You may like the graphics, you may like the gameplay, and even if it's repetitive, you may like the audio direction, even though it's very limited. But the thing above all of that is the core gameplay is fun, and the core controls are solid, and the story is phenomenal. I think it's a great story. It's not gonna chart top or anything like that, but it's really cool. I think a lot of people would probably dig it. Now, should you get this game at full price? That's a bit of a hard, even for me. Like I can't really say I would suggest anyone get this at full price. I mean, there are a lot of, like I said, a lot of my fellow content creators enjoyed this game thoroughly. This game just wasn't for me. I can't really recommend this at full price. So is this a game you need? I can't say that. But with that being said, again, shout out and thank you to Team 17 for providing me a review copy of this game. For the little bit of time I did have fun, I really enjoyed it, but ultimately, like I said, it got really repetitive. But that's just what I think. Let's find out what you guys think. Let's get the conversation going down in the comment section below. And with that being said, if you guys want to continue the conversation outside this YouTube video, catch me in the Discord. There's a link down below. Amazing people, gaming industry, other content creators, gamers, anime lovers, movie lovers, and more. We all like to hang out there. And if you're looking for a new podcast to check out, Kasanova Podcast, #1 podcast in Hawaii, #1 in the Pacific. Brand new episodes every single week. Amazing guests from the gaming tech industry, content creators, voice actors, celebrities, and more. So go check us out there. And if you're looking for streams, we stream every single week on twitch.tv/MikhailKasanova, so catch us over there. And if you really enjoy my work and you want to support, and basically my support comes from my patrons and my channel members. So if you like what you saw here, you like the content I put out and you want to support, then check me out on patreon.com/MikhailKasanova, or become a channel member. Or if you want, we've got PayPal down below if you want to support what we do. Independent game journalism is not an easy field to be in, so your support really helps make that happen. So with that being said, guys, that's it. I'm Mikhail Kasanova. I'm signing out. I hope y'all have a good one. I hope we can continue this conversation down below and in the Discord. So other than that, I'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces, wow, too sweet, be the elite. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. So you made it to the end of the video, and I really want to say mahalo for making it to the end of the video. It means a lot to me that you've done so, and I hope that if you made it this far that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I want you to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already if you want more content like this. We've got not only video game reviews, we got podcasts, we've got all kinds of content. Like there's a whole lot that I could dive into. But there's a whole lot here, and I really want to thank you guys for coming through and for sticking through to this part of the video. So again, thank you. Mahalo. Like, share, comment, and join our community. So that being said, thank you again for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.